It's week 3 of the consecration, and I want to ask you a question. What does your real life look like? You know, when there's no fast, no consecration, no one telling us what to seek God for or prioritize, what do we habitually press into, consume, and choose? You know, whether we realize it or not, we have all been called to live with a radical passion and fire for God. And so the last thing we want is for these times of consecration and fasting and what God does in these times to be episodic or isolated, you know, like some spiritual high that we just come down off of, that we just sink back down into life and reality. No, like Jacob when he wrestled with the Lord, or even like Jesus, you know, after his fast in the wilderness, some things should never be the same. These times are meant to rebuild and reshape a new reality for us, create new spiritual rhythm in our lives. But here's the thing, life may not be like what it was in the consecration, when we go back to normal, so to speak. But what we want is for what is being reset and recalibrated in our lives to fully set and solidify like concrete and become the new floor that we live on. So here's what we're gonna do in week 3. We're basically gonna kind of practice being back in the real world, so to speak. There'll be no official restriction on media and entertainment, technically no external source saying what we should and should not do, but I want you to be intentional and use this week. Don't just go back to normal. Instead, from a heart of wanting to maintain a level of intimacy and seeking God, reflect and be honest with yourself about some of the defaults and the things that you leaned on before the consecration, some of the distractions. Write them down, identify them so you know exactly what not to step back into. Also, we're going to practice continuing to make the types of decisions that we've made so far to pursue intimacy and clearly hearing God. We're going to practice prioritizing our time with God more than some of the other things we can do with our free time. You know, we're going to choose to pick up our Bible instead of our phone more often. Choose maybe turning on some worship music or that teaching instead of that show night after night after night, hour after hour. What we're learning to do is make our norm looking to the Comforter for peace and for strength, instead of the temporary relief that we get from the things that we veg out on sometimes. And it's not to say that we'll never enjoy some of these things post-consecration, but hopefully these choices become more and more second nature and less abnormal or even difficult for us. With this in mind, I want to kind of change our prayer focus a little bit from what was there before. And what you'll see if you go back to the website, you can re-download the PDF of the information. And this new prayer focus will be on an updated version for you. But our prayer this week will be, Father, what does it take in my daily life, and what does it look like for me to live sensitive to your spirit, responsive to your word, and aware of your presence? And how do I position myself to live so passionately for you that who you are touches everything that I touch? Even our dietary guidelines this week are meant to help us dig deeper, reset our lives, and solidify the things that God is doing. You know, Monday through Wednesday, we're going to be on a partial fast. That is, no food, only liquids until 6 p.m. And then Thursday morning through Sunday after service, we'll be in a full fast. That means no food, only liquids, and if you can, only water. And I just want to reiterate, just like last week, if the dietary guidelines this week are not suitable for your health needs, please feel free to adjust them as you need to. Just do whatever you can to lean into what God is instructing us to do this week. I also want you to remember that you can get the full list of scriptures, the details, the vision about the consecration on the website. And along with these weekly videos, we've also included other videos of teaching, information, tips about fasting, and even a worship playlist that we put together just for this consecration. There's also a place for you to share your praise reports as well. You know, I know God is doing things in your life, so we really want to hear what's going on. So feel free to go to the website and share your praise report. All of this can be found on the website at ucjc.org/consecration. You know, Pastor Mac, myself, the elders, we're so excited about this last leg of the consecration and all that it's going to establish in us moving forward. So I encourage you, do not miss out on what God is doing. It may not be easy, but it will definitely be worth it if you simply just press in and embrace what He's calling for in this final week. God bless you. We're praying for you. We're rooting for you. And we're excited because we are all getting ready to burn bright for Jesus together.